Good morning. Today is the 20th day of Elul and the 6th of September. And we're going to talk about the fourth portion of the two joint parshas, Nitzavim-Vayeilech. And we mentioned, we'll repeat this a few times until everybody remembers, that these are the last 12 days of the year, which started on the 18th of Elul, the birthday of the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe. And as such, they are dedicated to the 12 months of the passing year. So the 12 last days of the year correspond each one to one of the months of the year. So the 18th of Elul was for the month of Tishrei, the first month of the year. Then the 19th, yesterday, was the month of Cheshvan, and now the 20th today it corresponds to the month of Kislev. Kislev is the month in which Hanukkah begins. It is also the month in which there are the most dreams described in the Torah readings of that month, beginning with Joseph's dreams, and then ending in the end with Pharaoh's dreams. In the middle there are the dreams of the minister of the wine and the baker, minister of baking, and so on. Why are we saying this? Because each one of the days I wanted to do this, but there wasn't enough time, so we only sort of maybe touched upon it from the side, if you noticed. But on each of these days we want to rectify, or we want to have in mind, some of what happened in relation to that month of the year. So today, the 20th of Elul, is a rectification for the month of Kislev. Now, it's hard to remember. I don't think everybody keeps a diary and they know exactly what they did and what they didn't do. It used to be that people did. Life was different, and people used to have diaries in which they wrote down everything that they did right and everything that they did wrong. And there's a famous story from the Baal Shem Tov, who once sent his disciples to a particular village during the month of Elul to see how somebody was preparing for the Day of Judgment for Rosh Hashanah. And his students, they came to this house that he had described, and they watched through the window, and they saw that the common farmer, he took down two diaries. In one diary he had written down, and he started reading from it all the transgressions he had done that year with the date and time. And he just read through it. And after a while, it was a very big diary, so after a while he stopped and he closed it, and then he opened up the second diary. And the other diary, it said, there was a list of all the negative things that had happened to him, all the things that had troubled him. His cow had gotten sick, his dog died, his wife was sick, his children were this, that. I had a long, long list, and he's reading through it. Eventually, he tires of reading and he closes that one also. He takes two cups and he pours alcohol into them, and he lifts one and he says to God, "Look, I read everything that I did wrong, and I read everything that you did wrong. So what do you say? We take these two diaries and we throw them into the fire, and we say L'chaim, and we forget about it all, and we start a new year." And that's what he did. He took the two diaries, he threw them into the fire, and he said L'chaim, and he drank it, and that was his preparation for Rosh Hashanah. So that was just an aside for the fact that people used to know when they did what. And if somebody wants a diary like that from our time, almost from our time, the Rebbe Rayatz, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe who passed away in 1950, kept a diary like that his whole life. Some of it was published, some of it was not. Anyway, there was a diary day by day, every single day, everything that he had done, everything that he had heard, everything that he had said to people, apart from the thousands of letters that he wrote every year. It's very hard to imagine how much time people used to have on their hands, and we don't know where the time went. In any case, so this day, today, the 20th of Elul, corresponds to the month of Kislev. So since we don't know what we did exactly, we need to rectify the general sense of the month of Kislev. And what was the month of Kislev? In the Sefer Yetzirah, in the Book of Formation, it says the month of Kislev has the property of sleep. Now, if you think about it, it works very well because it's usually December, January, and that's a time that the days are shortest and the nights are longest. So people sleep a lot, relatively a lot, especially when you were in a rural agricultural society where there was nothing to do after sundown and not much to do before daybreak. So people slept a long time. So there's a lot of sleep. And as we mentioned in the Torah readings, there's all the dreams. The Parsha of Vayeilech begins with a very similar concept. And it reads like this. On that day, Moses went and spoke the following words to all of Israel. He said to them, "Today I am exactly 120 years old. I am nevertheless no longer allowed by God to come and go, to come out and go in, meaning to guide you. For God has said to me, you will not cross this Jordan River. I can no longer go and come as I used to." And Moses is now on the last day of his life. So basically the last three parashot, last three portions of the Torah, all happen on the same day. The 7th of Adar of the year 2488. And when Moses says, I have now reached 120 years, what he means is exactly because he was born on the 7th of Adar by tradition, and he also passes away on the same day by our tradition. And what is the idea behind it? That all his days were full, all his days were complete. We saw this, although we didn't get a chance to talk about it yet, maybe next year, by Abraham. That when Abraham reaches old age, it says he came with all his days. What that means is that every single day was used fully. There was nothing missing. None of his days were missing. If he would take a diary, he would see that every single day was filled with everything that was needed to have been done on that day. He did not miss a step in his mission in life. Now this in and of itself requires some discussion. We'll get to the sleep in a minute. This whole idea that a person has a mission in life comes with extra baggage. If I have a mission, I am always worried about whether or not I am using my time properly to fulfill my mission. It's always a question in a person's mind. There's no such thing really as what they call retiring. To retire really means to finish with life. You don't retire from life until you fully retire from life. And you can't retire because if you're still here, it means that you're still needed for something. It means that there's still a purpose. There's something to fill the days with. Sometimes it's something that I do, like in Moses' case, where it says that neither his lo nas lecho velo ka'ata, that his eye did not dim and his voice did not diminish. So sometimes there's a person like Moses who needs to do things, and sometimes we're here in the world because we are the focus of some things that are done, and we are needed for that. But in any case, every day has to be complete. This is something that a person has to live with throughout his life, knowing this. Now, really, how can you ever feel fulfilled? Then you can come with a sense of failure all the time because you've never really finished. It's a very angst-ridden life if you live that way. For that reason, a person needs to know how to sleep properly. To sleep properly means to understand that today is finished, and regardless of what I did or I didn't do, this day is over. That's why by Abraham it says he came with all his days. He didn't just come with his years. He came with his days. Interestingly, in Hebrew, the word for year and the word for sleep is pretty much the same word. A year is a shana, and to sleep is sheina. It's almost the same word. Another way of seeing this is that when Moses completes his 120 years, like he says here, Ben me'av esrim shana anuchi, I am 120 years old. The years are governed almost by how you sleep. If you can, at the end of the day, do the very important ritual that we have called Kriyat Shema Lamita, of saying Shema one last fourth time during the day, and during that reading of the Shema, we also, in a certain sense, it's almost like death, because sleep is 1/60th of death. So we do a vidui. A vidui means we confess. We confess to everything that we did wrong, but we also, maybe more importantly, we forgive anyone who wronged us. It's a very, very psychologically important ritual that closes the day, that allows a person to feel that what they've done is complete, whether or not they think they were able to fulfill everything they needed to. If God grants me another day, there will be another day. But for now, it's finished. That's what it means to sleep properly. So this day today, we all need to feel like Moses at his 120 years, that every single day that I've had, every single year that I've completed, I feel that it's complete. It's not to live in a sense of anxiety. What have I done? How much have I done? The anxiety needs to be about the future. How much will I do? How much am I prepared to push myself further tomorrow? But about the past, there has to be closure. There has to be a feeling, just like this farmer took these 2 diaries and tossed them into the fire and said, this is the end of the year. This is the end. It's finished. It's gone. Whatever it was, it was. God keeps the record. I don't need to. I don't need to live that way. I need to always have closure in order to be able to do things better tomorrow. To understand that whatever was done is now completely under divine providence. I have to take responsibility for what I did, but I don't have to feel that, what can I do? I haven't done anything. That's what it means, by the way, that a person has to learn. This is something that we actually learned with Rabbi Ginsburg this year, this notion of to sleep well and to eat well. To eat well will be the day before, 2 days before Rosh Hashanah. We'll talk about it then, because the sense of the month of Shvat, which is the 28th of Elul, is eating. But today we're talking about what it means to sleep well. To sleep well means that a person sleeps knowing that I've done what I can, it's finished, it's over, and I'm preparing, I'm resting in order to gain strength for tomorrow. That God willing, tomorrow will be a day on which I will succeed and do much more. So this is a beautiful message here from Moses. I just want to mention, I kind of forgot as we were talking, that this is the last verse of Nitzavim, of the previous parsha. We're on the cusp of the two. And there it says, love God your God, to obey Him and to cleave to Him, for He is your source of life. He is your length of days. When a person is connected to God, then every day is long. And nowhere do you feel it more than when you say Kriyat Shema, the reading of the Shema just before going to bed, and saying the confession and forgiving everyone, and feeling that there's closure on every single day and a fresh preparation for the new coming day that will be tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining. I hope to see you tomorrow, and I hope that tomorrow we also get a chance to explore the connection between the reading, the month, and the corresponding month in the yearly calendar. All the best.